Hello YouTube, this is VidHead85 and I am looking at a cheeseburger.com, Cheez burger, and I will link it below. And this one is really funny because it's titled Restaurant Owner Calls Out Woman's Dishonest Reviews. Ate at a Casa Maria's in blah 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 town. Not impressed with their food or service. Wife's fajitas were Wife's fajitas were burnt. The protein was not much, scraped up scraps. Terrible salsa, and the waitress argued with my wife when she pointed out that they had overcharged us. Won't be going back. Response from the owner. Bianca, we don't think this is a very accurate description of what occurred, as I am the manager owner and was present when you were in the restaurant. You were not overcharged. Since shrimp is not in our lunch fajitas and you added shrimp, we had a separate charge on your check for the shrimp. The server was trying to explain this to you, but you described it as arguing. We weigh our portion We weigh and portion our protein, so we are 100% sure you'll receive the exact portion for your entree. They were not scraps in the food we prepare. Judging by your other reviews on Google, we can tell that rating a variety of businesses poorly seems to be a pattern for you. Perhaps this gives you some false sense of power, but your attempts to ruin a small business reputation based on a very inaccurate description are not successful. As you can see, our reputation for good quality food and service is very strong. Given your history, we are quite happy if you find another place to rate and leave us off any of your upcoming plans. We have plenty of great customers who understand the freshness and quality of our food and our great service, and they are respectful and appreciative of small business in our community. Adios. Oh my goodness, this is probably one of I like it when I love it when people like this get just owned, because there are so many people. This Karen got owned, and I'm really glad that someone called her out. Like the main things I'm tired of seeing with Karens is people placating them. Don't do that, because they'll continue to go again. This is another one. I'm going to share another one, and this is titled Bartender Gets Revenge on Her Boss During her Final Month at the Restaurant. It begins, it is an anti-work, officially reached my bullshit limit. I am a single mom with 3 kids, and I work 3-ish jobs: freelance, massage, bartending, and OF. What's OF? I don't know what OF. Oh, probably bartending. No. Okay, whatever it is. I'm also studying to get a personal training certificate so that way I can have lots of irons in the fire and not be dependent on one job. Bartending is for a small 3-store family owned restaurant. The owner and her daughter run it, and they run it horribly. Not that it matters, but I used to help manage a chain restaurant in town, so I'm aware of California labor laws and how to successfully run a restaurant shift. Background: the owners are unbearable, but not unique. Constantly texting on days off, what happened with X on the counter? Watching the cameras from home and calling to say stop standing around, retaliating against employees by taking them off the schedule for a week when they don't come in for an extra shift slash stay late, etc. One of the things that really pissed me off was that she said she expected all employees to buy pot holders for the kitchen and everyone should chip in. I've taken a peek at P&L report, and she nets about 15 to 20,000 a month from that location alone, yet expects her minimum wage employees to bring in pot holders once a month? No. Also, no employee discount on meals. There's literally no incentive to work there. Needless to say, I think she's full of shit, and I don't do more than asked. Oh, look, hey, quiet quitting. If my coworkers are in a bind, I gladly pick up shifts for them. But I don't bend over for her or her daughter after they've learned not to not ask me. They've given the no one wants to work speech out loud and often, and all new hires don't last more than 3 shifts. So, all in all, they need me. What happened? Obviously, since I don't respect them and I do whatever I please within reason, I take care of the guests, help my coworkers with unruly guests or computer issues. I'm basically a manager on duty. So when the owner called the restaurant and I saw on her on our caller ID, I answered, "Thank you for calling our competition across the street. How can I help you?" She flipped. I brushed it off, again, don't care, but that night she told the dinner crew that she was going to fire me over it as soon as she could get a replacement. So, with the venting off my chest, here's the question. I'm quitting at the end of the month if she doesn't fire me first. What kind of Kevin McAllister, Dennis Reynolds, Johnny Knoxville chaos can I cause so every shift there will be fun for me, but a headache for her? Fart bomb in a bathroom, toy roaches strategically placed. This is where mental warfare. This is mental warfare chicken, and I hope to win. Oh, okay. So this is not a revenge. This is someone who is looking for ideas. One hider pot holders. Get a can of tuna, open it a bit, and hide it down a vent in the office. Then a week or two later, call the health department. Get a job with the competition across the street. Literally walk across the street when you leave. Be dressed up and have a resume. Tell them exactly why. Hell, show them this post. Okay, what's another one? Okay, so those are it. I thought this was an actual so I did not read this one before I read it officially, so I wanted to kind of do it kind of like going blind. Okay, so this last one I'm going to put was in malicious compliance. Crazy Karen tells me to do my job, so I terminate her husband's lease. It says sorry for the length here. I'm 20s, female, work as a manager in customer service. We have all types of managers, and depending on where you work as a manager, you have certain authorizations for security reasons. For example, if you work as a manager physically at one of our offices, you have authorization to access rentals and give out temporary access to our facilities. I, as a customer service manager, don't have those authorizations, security measures to prevent theft. However, I have remote authorizations like terminating a lease or giving out refunds. I'm only open from Monday to Friday as a customer service manager, and any complaints go to my voicemail on weekends. I do work overtime on weekends, so I will take regular calls like a customer service agent does since I'm closed. Now to the story. Karen calls in cussing, belligerent, and yelling at me. I am able to look up her account, but by then, because I wasn't overly apologetic and feeding into her nonsense, she got angry, passed the phone to her husband, and was like, "You need to talk to this because I can't deal with her." The unit was in his name, so I was happy that she gave up the phone to him anyways. We can only speak with the account holder. I speak to Karen's husband, and he explains that they were told to go to the office to get access to their rental. It's about 30 minutes before closing. However, he said all the lights are off, the door is locked, and the sign says someone will be back Monday at 9 a.m. He swears up and down that he is at the correct facility. This this entire time, his Karen wife is going crazy in the background. At first, she was at level 7, but now she's at a level 12. This woman is insane. Now, as I said, I don't physically work at the office. So, for security purposes, I am not allowed to give out temp codes, and I need to have authorization from one of the manager who physically works there. I went down the list and called all of them, but nobody was answering. I decided to an email, and I to the store, sent it to the store, but CC'd all of the manager who have authorization to give temporary codes. Within a couple of minutes, the office responds to the email. She tells me that she hasn't been at her computer this whole time. However, she has been in front of the store, sweeping and around the office cleaning up for closing. She said all the lights were on and the door was wide open, so there's no way they're at the correct address. Now, I'm pretty irritated. I demanded that Karen's husband tell me exactly where he's at, and after looking at his GPS, we came to the conclusion they were at the wrong address. Karen is now silent and has stopped her tirade. I then call the store so I can speak with the employee directly. I apologize profusely and explain the situation. She says she's already aware of the nasty Karen because she has already left a bunch of nasty grams via voicemail that the employee only listened to right before I called her. It then dawns upon me that this whole time she is going berserk, it's her leaving voicemails. Now I'm sick of this Karen shit for real. I decided to give them one last chance. I emphasized that we will not assist anybody regarding the account besides the client, Karen's husband, and that his wife is never to never call regarding the account as we clearly cannot assist her or will not assist her. I then make it clear that in his lease it says that we will not tolerate belligerent or aggressive behavior from him or his associates. Then I finish it off with emphasizing that we have the rights to terminate the lease or contract within 48 hours written notice, especially for violating the terms mentioned. Karen is no longer being silent and starts going berserk, again calling me a bitch with a stick up my ass and saying that I should just accept that she made a mistake and move on. She goes on to say that I don't have the authority to do any of these things and I should just do my job. Oh, really, Karen? Well, check me out now, bit. Cue malicious compliance. I told him to hold on for a few minutes, and it takes me all of 10 minutes to pull up my termination template, fill in his info, send a letter of termination via email, print out a sign and sign a letter of termination for me to send via express mail after I get off the phone, then void the contract, move them out of our system, then email the office employee telling her she can close up and go home for the day because I am refusing them access. I get back to let the client I get back on the line to let the client know, one, that I'm not just some customer service agent, but I am actually a call center customer service agent. Two, that as I understand people make mistakes, her inappropriate behavior towards me and my colleagues were not a mistake. She purposely sought out to be belligerent and be aggressive by continuously calling me out my name and leaving nasty profanity laced voicemails for my colleague at the office. Then, after giving them a second chance, she went on another tirade. Three, I go on to explain that I've sent him a letter of termination via email and I will be sending one via express mail that he should be receiving the next day. Four, I explain that he will not have a chance to use the rental because I have already instructed the office employee not to wait for them past closing and that she is not to give them access. Then he snapped on her. Here's a paraphrased version. Told her that marrying her was the worst mistake he ever made in his life and that he's tired of being verbally assaulted by her every day. Then he calls her a cowardly bitch who can never own up to her mistakes, then proceeds to tell her she's a delusional control freak who ruins all happiness in his life. She stopped yelling as she was sobbing loudly. The man was in tears at this point. I told him, Sir, my decision is final, and I will have to end the call now. You could be receiving the letter, should be receiving the physical letter of termination in the mail tomorrow. By tomorrow. But you can view it currently in your email if you like. Then I hung up and went to the post office to send off the termination letter. This day will pass to history as the day when Karen really got the manager. Can't tell if the husband was trying to play good cop or if he finally had an epiphany. Either way, thank goodness you won't have to deal with them again. Another comment says, So you killed his business essentially? Good for you, honestly. That took confidence and courage. I hope that man divorces that woman and gets his life back together. Cheers. Wow, it amazes me that people don't seem to want to be kind. I'm sure at least once in her life someone around her said that you can catch more flies with honey than vinegar. She's definitely vinegar. And then someone replies, she's straight up ammonia. All right, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for listening. It's hitting the 15-minute mark. And let me know if there are some ones that you want me to read. Because I don't know. I really like reading these stories. All right, talk to you soon.